Hi, today I'm going to start the first unit for semester 3, and the name of the poem that we are going to do is titled as Life by Charlotte Bronte. So what I'm going to do now is in the first class we are going to look at the pre-reading questions, and I would want you to pay careful attention for the next 30 minutes or so. We are going to look at about 6 to 7 questions because these will help us to understand the poem better. So that's as far as what we are going to do today, but I hope by the end of the session it would be a very productive one. It will help you to understand the poem, which was written way back in the 19th century, but it's very, very relevant even today. So I hope you enjoy this session. Let's go ahead. So we start the pre-reading activity. This is something which I always do before we get into the poem. So the first question in the pre-reading activity, it's very much there in your textbook, so you may just turn to the first page. The first question is, can you recall some happy moments of your life and some unhappy ones? So this is a very common question. You may have your highs and your lows in life. So the poem basically talks about the poet going through those highs and lows in life. So the first question in the brainstorming part is, can you recall some of those happy moments of your life and some unhappy ones? And if you do, please note it down, jot it down somewhere. When we actually go ahead and do the poem, we would maybe get into that sort of a discussion. So life is about the sunrise and sometimes about dark moments, gloom. So it's a mix of both. So you just need to understand that all of us need to go through both the good and bad of life. The second question on which you need to think about before we get into the poem is, we cannot have only successes in life. Sometimes we have to face disappointments too. What should be our attitude towards failure? Once more, we cannot have only successes in life. Sometimes we have to face disappointments too. What should be our attitude towards failure? I know many of us go through success, pretty successful, but some of us do go through failure. So what should be our attitude? Basically, our attitude should be to treat failure as a stepping stone to success, right? So when you go through a difficult time, when you go through failure, you should not say that, well, this is how it is, and I don't see light at the end of the tunnel. But you should always understand that that phase that you go through, that phase of failure, should actually make you stronger than before. So let's not, there are umpteen number of examples of people who didn't succeed at the beginning, but they became great success in the future. A very good example in Bollywood industry would be Amitabh Bachchan. People said that he was not made he was not made for stardom, right? People rejected him, they rejected his voice. He was tall, because till then we didn't have too many heroes who were that tall and who had that voice. But then we can see today that he's a Bollywood. He's an icon in the field of acting. So that's one example I can think of. There are numerous examples in every field. We also have examples of Bill Gates, who didn't do too well academically, but is one of the richest people in the world today. The next question is, how should we face adversity? So I'm taking it from the second question itself. How do you face adversity? You accept it. You say, fine, okay, these are difficult times, but then after every sad day comes a glad day. That's what people say. So we should always understand that when you go through difficult times, don't dwell on that. Keep thinking that this phase is going to be over, and good times are going to certainly come for you. When something unfortunate happens to us, how do we regain our balance? What helps us to get our composure back? So for different people it could be different. Some of us depend on friends, some of us on family, some of us also have our own ways of dealing with these unfortunate situations. Get they are pretty difficult to handle, but then how do you help to handle? But then how do you get back your composure? Life presents both opportunities and challenges. How do you think we should respond to the challenges? You do have opportunities, you take them, some of those, but what about challenges? When you're thrown a challenge, how do you handle that? Do you display courage? Do you display boldness when everybody else is giving up? Do you have a never give up attitude? So these are things that you need to think about. I'm sure today it's videos, I can't engage in a discussion, but I'm sure you are noting down these things. Please think about all those things, because when we do the poem, I would want some inputs from you guys. Right. The next question is, sometimes we are troubled by negative thoughts and emotions. What should we do to overcome such thoughts and feelings? Some of us find our solace in music, some of us watch movies, some of us spend time with friends, some of us depend on religion. So there are different ways in which you overcome these thoughts, but it's very, very important that you overcome negative thoughts and emotions. So how do you do it is different for different people, but you need to have a mechanism to handle these negative thoughts and emotions. So the last question is, depression is a common but serious mood disorder. Find out its symptoms, causes and cures. So that's a task for you guys. Mental health is many times ignored in this part of the world, but you need to understand that it's real. So the task for you people is find out the symptoms, find out the causes and cures for depression. Right, so these were some of the pre-reading questions that I want to discuss. I know it's just me talking about it, but I'm sure you have a lot of things to say. We'll keep that for the first session when we do the poem in class. But then I want you to keep thinking about some of these things. So I'm going to leave a few keywords, even if you've not written down the entire question. If you have a textbook, go to page 1, the pre-reading activity for the first poem, Life by Charlotte Bronte. If you don't have a book, happy moments, unhappy moments, success, disappointments, attitude towards failure, adversity, unfortunate, balance, composure, opportunities, challenges, response to challenges, negative thoughts and emotions, how do you overcome, depression, symptoms, causes and cures. So these are some keywords which I've left with you. I'm sure you will do your homework, spend some time, and I want you to jot down these things when we come back to class. I want you guys to engage in healthy brainstorming discussions. So those are some of those pre-reading questions. I'm not doing a lot of talking here because I want you people to write down these points and come prepared for the class. At the moment, these are some keywords. Anyway, you can see it on the screen. I would want you to jot down a few points, do some research on these topics, keywords, and then these will help you to understand the poem better. But also it will help you to become a better individual, better aware of where you stand, about the problems people are facing. You could end up becoming a more positive individual. So I will just leave with that, and we will continue this in the next class. But please do come prepared for your next class. Hope the pre-reading session was interesting. I tried to bring in a lot of aspects related to life. And don't think that just because the poem is about 200 years old or so, it's not relevant, as we learned through all that discussion that ensued, or whatever I spoke about. I hope that it's going to help you all even as we go ahead and discuss the poem. So for the next session, we'll be discussing the poem. We'll be looking at how the poet uses rhythm and rhyme scheme, figures of speech, but our focus basically will be on the content, because that's basically what I want you to take away once the poem is done. So that's as far as this session is concerned. The first session, we discussed the pre-reading questions. We looked at how the poem makes sense even today. 200 years later, even as we go through difficult times. At this time, we are in the COVID-19 times, and the picture is pretty bleak. But in all of this, one thing I would want to tell you is that once you read the poem, I'm sure all of you are going to be influenced positively once we get there and read the poem. So have a great day. We'll meet again for our next session, and that session our focus will be on discussing, reading, interpreting, deciphering the poem Live by Charlotte Bronte. Right, so just to get you better prepared for the next session when we'll be doing the poem, I'm just leaving a video for you to watch. I enjoyed watching this video. It's a little long, but it's pure motivation, and I'm sure some of those aspects that we discussed during the pre-reading will be covered even as you're watching this video. So happy viewing for all of you.
I got a question for you, all right? What do you want? It's real simple. What do you want? All right, and this gonna hurt a little bit. It's gonna hurt a little bit. How far will your will take you this year? How far will your will take you this year? Because there's some things in life you're not going to get. They're not coming to you. You got to go take it. There's some stuff that you can't even just earn by doing the good things, doing the right. Listen to me. There's some stuff, if you're going to get it, you got a will to get it.
The margin for error is so small. I mean, 1/2 a step too late or too early, and you don't quite make it. 1/2 second too slow, too fast, you don't quite catch it. The inches we need are everywhere around us. They're in every break of the game, every minute, every second.
Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us.
Dig deep down, ask yourselves, who do you want to be? Figuring out for yourselves what makes you happy, no matter how crazy it may sound to the people.
Make a choice, right? You just decide what it's going to be, who you're going to be, how you're going to do it. Just decide.
We can stay here, get the shit kicked out of us, or we can fight our way back into the light. We can climb out of hell. 1 inch at a time.
Have you ever thought about something you wanted to do and you talk yourself out of it? The goals that you right now have, the things that you have envisioned for yourself, this is a reflection, what you've done thus far and what you are engaged in doing. It's what's possible for you right now, but there's even more. You don't even know what's in the future. It's possible. I can do this. I can make this happen. No matter how bad it is or how bad it gets, I'm going to make it. I think it's time to revisit and look at your goals and dreams, and let's raise the bar. Do you really want to win? Say that to yourself every day. Feed your mind with words that you write and words that you hear and words that you speak to yourself. Feed your faith. If you believe in yourself, if You constantly remind yourself, after every defeat, after every setback, every time you get knocked down, I've got to say, if life knocks you down, try and land on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up. You will fail your way to success.
Life is not really long. Let's say the average person 30 years old. If you're 30 years old, you're not but about 7 years old. How can I prove it? Add up all the 7, 8, 9 hours you slept for 30 years. Out of 30 years, add up all the nights, last night when you went to bed and woke up this morning, you don't remember a thing. You've been unconscious for about 8 years. If you're 30 years old, you slept about 8 years. Okay. How much traveling have you done in 30 years? From the television station to home, to another country, to another city, to school, to church. You've probably traveled 2 years of your life or spent just getting back and forth to where you're going. So there's 8 years of sleeping, 2 years of traveling. There's 30 years out of your life before you accomplish anything. How long do you sit in school? In America, we stay in school from the 1st grade to 12th grade. Same here? Yeah. 6 hours a day. 6 hours a day for 12 years. Break it down. You sat in the classroom for 3 years without leaving. Okay, 2 years of traveling, 8 years of sleeping, 3 years of school. How many movies have you went to? How many wrestling matches? How much entertainment? How many movie theaters, live plays, baseball games? Probably 2 years of entertainment. By the time you have children, by the time you have made a way for your children, by the time you've paid for your home, you're pushing 60 years old. So life is real short. So you add up all your traveling, add up all your sleeping, add up all your school, add up all your entertainment, you've probably been half your life doing nothing. So what am I'm 35 years old, 30 more years I'll be 65. We don't have no more influence. We can't do nothing much at 65. Your wife will tell you that. So what I'm saying, when you're 65, ain't too much more to do. So did you know I'll be 65 in 30 more years? In those 30 years, I have to sleep 9 years. I don't have 30 years of daylight. I have to travel back to America, take 6, 7 miles. All my traveling, probably 4 years of traveling in the next 30 years, about 9 years of sleeping, television, movies, entertainment, about 3 years of entertainment. Out of 30 years, I might have about 16 years to be productive. So it's how we can all break individual lives down.
Is the genesis of all greatness. Now I'm going to ask you a life-changing question. What do you want? Successful people have self-awareness. They know who they are, what they want, and why they want it. Questions will take you wherever you want to go. So I'm going to ask you again, what do you want in life? Vision is the genesis of all greatness. Your imagination is the womb that will give birth to your future. The starting point of all personal transformation is developing a powerful mental blueprint with the exact specifications of how you want your life to look. Clarity sets success in motion. Where there is no vision, the people perish. The blessed and unstoppable think different. They are the mental architects that imagine and design with their mind the kind of world they want to live in. See, when you have a strong vision for your life, you will begin to attract the people and circumstances needed to bring it into fruition. Anything that you can envision in your mind clear enough and long enough, you can make happen. People without a vision are walking around in life in a state of confusion. Successful people understand that the world is pliable, and with enough mental clarity, they can bend and shape their future at will. Vision is the genesis of all greatness. What do you want? You gotta start with this question in each area of your life. It's time to bring your whole life into focus. What do you want your marriage to look like? What do you want your finances to look like? What do you want your body to look like? What kind of friends do you want to have? What kind of relationship with God do you want to have? Now, you might not know all these answers right now, but I want you to get up every single day and ask these questions until you gain clarity over your life. People with vision are magnetic. They attract success into their life. 90% of the people in this world are walking around with no clear vision for their life. And if you don't have a vision for your life, you are more likely to be divorced, more likely to be overweight, more likely to end up in prison, more likely to go bankrupt, more likely to be unfulfilled. Vision is the key to a successful life. God did not create you to have life happen to you. You were designed to happen to life. Most people don't want to do the inner homework required for success. Thinking is the hardest work there is. That's why so few people actually do it. But you see, the ones who do it become the successes. They become the legends. They become the entrepreneurs. They become the innovators. Vision and imagination are the tools that usher in change. Vision is the genesis of all greatness. What do you want in life? If you could do anything in this world and know that you wouldn't fail, what would it be? Think outside the box by moving your mind into the realm of unlimited possibilities. Because with God, all things are possible. Get a vision for your life. Blessed and unstoppable.